Download the AllStar app. Make your picks for UFC fights, challenge your friends, level up and win prizes. Link in description. Get it now.
Hi, my name is Assane Sall. I'm 20 years old. I was born in New York, grew up in Hawaii. I'm here in Phuket, Thailand, fighting out of Bangtao Muay Thai MMA. I'm an amateur fighter, but hopefully going pro soon. I grew up in Hawaii with two brothers. We were always super active, super athletic. Growing up, I was playing soccer, I was running track and field, I was playing basketball. So I've always had a massive interest in sports. Like from a young age, I was always planning to be a professional athlete. There was no doubt in my mind. So I grew up playing soccer, and then I was playing soccer so much that my mom, she wanted me to do something else, so she put me in jiu-jitsu, which at first I really hated jiu-jitsu when I first started it, but she forced me to keep going. But I'd make any excuse not to go. I'd have my dirty gi and I'd hide it, and my mom would say, "Oh, go get my gi," and it'd be dirty still, and I'd be like, "Oh, I can't go to jiu-jitsu. I guess I got to go to soccer practice instead." And it wasn't really until somebody told me about MMA that I was like, "Oh, this shit's actually pretty cool." Can I swear?
Yeah.
Okay. And it wasn't until somebody told me about MMA that I was like, "Oh, this shit's actually pretty cool." And then I started to get more into MMA. What really got me into MMA though was when I was 15. I tore my ACL playing soccer. So that was really hard for me. I was out for 9 months. I couldn't really do much. I was wondering, do I still want to play soccer after this? I came back, I started playing soccer again. I tore my ACL again. And that was kind of like the last string for me playing soccer. I was like, I'm not really sure if my knees are able to do this. And that's kind of when I switched to MMA around 15, 16 years old, when I switched to MMA and I decided I want to be a full-time fighter. So I've always been super athletic. First growing up, when I was in New York, I was playing basketball and soccer a little bit. Then when I went to Hawaii, I got into track and field. I was running the short distance, 100 meter and 200 meter. It was really good. I was like first or second in the state. And then after that, I started jiu-jitsu. And after jiu-jitsu, into MMA. Soccer was the goal. I was from 10 years old to 15 years old. I was convinced I was going to play professionally. I was traveling around the world playing soccer. I played in Brazil. I played in Spain. So I was really focused on it. It was my dream. It was my passion. But I guess it's a blessing in disguise that I tore my ACL and I turned to MMA now, because I think I'm a bit better at this. Yeah, it was really, really hard. When I tore my ACL, I was playing soccer in Brazil actually. And then I just twisted wrong, and then my knee popped. I'd never had any serious injury before, so I had no clue what was happening. And yeah, that was really tough. So it was a long rehab. It was 9 months. I was just 15 years old, and I was in a pretty dark place, because I was like, this is my dream. I want to be a professional soccer player. And like 9 months of not playing, I couldn't imagine it. And then to come back, start playing soccer again, and like the very first game I played, to tear it again, I was just sobbing on the field. It wasn't even from the pain. I was just like, this is my dream. It's kind of over. So it was really tough to go through, but it really is a blessing in disguise, because it really that was the last string that switched me to MMA and made me quit soccer, which I'm pretty glad for now. I'm sure my 13-year-old self would be like, "Oh, why aren't we a professional soccer player?" But I'm like, this is a lot better. I really got into watching MMA because I just didn't have much to do when you're sitting out with a knee injury, and those right when COVID happened. And if you guys remember, MMA was kind of one of the only sports on. It was like the first sport back on, so I started watching MMA, and I'm like, I already do jiu-jitsu, so I understood it a little bit, and I'm like, oh, this is actually really cool. And I'm like, maybe I'll give this a shot when my knee heals. So I got back into it, and when I get into something, I get really into something. I can't just try it a little bit. So my knee healed, and I just jumped straight into MMA. I never touched the soccer ball again, and then the rest is history. They love to fight out there. Everyone loves to fight. At school there's fights, at the beach there's fights. Anywhere you go, there's gonna be a fight. The problem is they don't really want to put in the hard work to learn how to really fight. They just want to go on the side of the fucking road and have a scrap. So that was one thing that I struggled with. I'm like trying to convince my friends. Whenever I'm hanging out with them, they constantly want to play fight, they want to wrestle or something, and I'm like, come train, and then they'd be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna come, and then they just don't show up. I guess the only time people do show up is if the waves are really bad. I was actually, since I started training jiu-jitsu, so I've never been in a fight outside of the gym, me personally, which is pretty rare for Hawaii because it's super common out there. I guess just growing up kind of in a jiu-jitsu gym, my coach there, he really taught us about it, like not to have fights outside the gym, keep it inside the gym. There's no point to be getting hurt, being a fool. Just keep it inside the gym. So I've never had a fight actually outside of the gym, but it really helped growing up in having a good coach at the Jiu-Jitsu Academy. First couple months, you know, I'd already had background in Jiu-Jitsu. My mom had been making me do it for a couple years, so the Jiu-Jitsu was okay. But the striking, I was definitely not a natural at it. It took me some time. But yeah, I just kept training, and like I said, when I get into something, I get really into something. I was training 6 days a week for 4 hours, and then I decided after just a couple months of doing it, I want to make this my passion. I want to go professional in this sport. So I just trained. So I just trained for the 2 years, just competing in local jiu-jitsu tournaments, and then. After 2 years, I had my first kickboxing fight. I ended up fighting one of the best kickboxers in Hawaii. He's 18 years old. His name's Jovan Lopez. I kind of got whooped in that fight, but I was like, it was the most fun I'd ever had doing anything. Even though I was getting beat, I was like, this is unreal. After 2 years of training kickboxing and jiu-jitsu, I had my first fight against one of the best young kickboxers in Hawaii. His name was Jovan Lopez, and I did get whooped a little bit, but I gave him a good run, and it was the most fun I'd ever had doing anything was that, and that was really it. Where I'm like, yeah, this is what I'm gonna do. Yeah, after that, I just kept training. I was training for another year, and then I had my amateur debut, which went okay. I won the decision, and I just remember being super nervous for that, because I was like, I'd already put 3 years into this. And then after that kickboxing fight, a couple months later, made my MMA debut on a pretty big show in Hawaii, Trinity Kings. Fought a good, scrappy kid there, won a decision. Looking what's going to be the next step. Am I going to stay in Hawaii forever and fight there? And the thing with Hawaii is everybody loves to fight in Hawaii, but people don't like to train. So that was a real problem. You know, you show up at training, everybody in the group chat says they're going to be there, and one guy shows up. So I'm kind of thinking about it, and I'm talking with my mom, and I'm just deciding what I want to do. If I want to stay in Hawaii, if I want to look to explore other options. And at first I was thinking I want to go somewhere in the US. I was thinking Arizona, Vegas, California, and actually did go visit Phoenix, the MMA lab in Arizona. I stayed there for a little while. I enjoyed it, but I didn't really get like the feeling of like a community of home. I trained also a little bit at the Ruka Academy in Costa Mesa, California. But yeah, the same thing. I enjoyed it, but I was like, there's just something missing here. And then I went back to Hawaii, kept training, and then my mom was like, oh, I'm gonna go to Thailand for a month. Should you come with me? Should we check out the training in Thailand? I was like, okay, yeah, let's go. And then we ended up coming to Thailand, and Bangtao was the first place we visited. We were planning to stay here for a week. We were here for a week, and we extended for another week, and we're like, oh, this place is very nice. We're gonna stick around here. There's no reason to check out other gyms, because I felt like this was it. This was the gym. I wasn't planning on moving out here. I was still planning on going somewhere in the U.S. I was like, oh, I'll be here for a training camp for like a month, 2 months. And then my mom ended up leaving after a month, and I was just here alone, and I just kept extending my trip. So I would just say, oh, I'm going to stay for another month, oh, I'm going to stay for another month. And then I just really started to feel like home here. The coaches, they really took me in like immediately. The very first day when I came here, I had a long talk with George, and I was like, I didn't feel this at any of the other gyms that I visited, the sense of community. Yeah, for this coming up year, I'm just trying to get as much amateur experience as possible. I'm trying to fight as much as I can. It's a little difficult in Thailand to find amateur fights, but hopefully 3 or 4, we'll see what happens. And then after that, of course, I've got to talk with the coaches here, George and Frank, but looking to go professional like early next year, end of this year. And yeah, within 2 years, I want to have 4 or 5 professional fights and be right on the edge there, looking into the UFC. But yeah, really, my mom's been my greatest supporter. Like, she's believed in me. No matter what I want to do, my mom's been there. She's believed in me. Like like I said, I always wanted to be a professional athlete. She always supported me. She would buy expensive soccer camps for me to travel to. She would support me like so much. I'm super grateful for her. When I was especially going through the knee injury, she really helped me through that. And yeah, when I decided I wanted to be a professional fighter, she was a little bit, why don't you just stick to soccer or some other sport where you don't lose brain cells? But I was like, no, I really wanted to do this, and she got super into it, like for me. Like she'd watch fights and everything with me just to support me. And yeah, she's really been the best support I could have ever asked for. When I was 16, I dropped out of school, and she supported that. She understood that I'm gonna do something great in this sport, and yeah, I'm just super grateful for my mom.